Hey guys, it's been a while now, and last time it was all defense, and even if I still use defense, I was wondering if I wouldn't do a DeadEye build. So I've seen a lot of people still stacking crit chance and headshot damage, which is completely useless with DeadEye. And so I decided to make this video, um, which we'll call Built for Beginners. It's basically the way you should build Deadeye to have the best damage output, stacking crit damage and enemy armor damage if you're doing PvE. If you're doing PvP, you can always tweak it the way you like it, but let's simply start with a PvE build. Um, it's mostly min-maxed, even if, pieces are always random and you are relying on RNG, and that's why even if my rolls aren't the best ones, it still do the job. So we're gonna see what kind of weapons, what kind of gear, what kind of mods, how to mod your weapons, and also we're gonna cover the skills and talents you should use. So let's dig in and see how you should build Deadeye. So as you can see, I'm running 4 pieces Deadeye and 2 high hands. I'm gonna start with the high hands. Um, let's start with the chest, and it's a reckless firearms chest with 1764 firearms, 5% enemy armor damage, 9% exotic damage resilience, and 56% ammo capacity. And for the mods, I went for firearms mod with health. Um, Not the best rolls. 248 is a bit low. Would prefer around 260 to 255 firearms, but yeah, like it's always random, and I'm still crafting a lot of firearms mods, so that's it for the vest. For the backpack, I use a specialized backpack. You're gonna have 200% of your firearms and stamina going to your skill power, which will be good for your pulls and your heals, um, even if you have low electronics. It's rolled for firearms with 1527 firearms. You have 8% crit damage. This is what you should use if you're using Deadeye, because Deadeye has 100% crit hit chance when you're scoped in, and you lose all your headshot damage. And you have 949 ammo capacity. You have firearms mods, it's 260 with health. And for the performance mods, I went for pulse crit damage. Okay, now for the pieces Deadeye, you have the Deadeye mask with 1533 firearms, 8% enemy armor damage, and blind def resistance. Blind def resistance is less important, but the enemy armor damage will be good when you're doing PvE stuff, mostly challenging and even in legendary. For the knee pads, they are firearms knee pads with 1526 firearms. You have 8% crit damage, 15% to damage to elites, which is always good when you're doing challenging and legendary again. That's how you should roll it for PvE. Then for my gloves, I have DeadEye gloves with 1268 firearms, and then marksman rifle damage, which increase your firepower. You have 7% enemy armor damage and 15% crit hit damage. Rolls could be a little bit better, but that's always, again, random, and still finding to have the perfect gloves. And then the holster, you have firearms holster with 1266 firearms, and then reload speed. Because if you're using a bolt action like the M44 or M700, the reload speed is a bit low, so having that reload speed always improve, or you can shoot faster, etc. You lose less time between magazine change. Now for the weapons, I have an M700 carbon. It's, you see the major attribute is headshot damage, which is completely irrelevant with DeadEye. 164k damage, and for DeadEye you should always use prepared because you're going always to shoot from a distance. You have deadly, which is the crit damage weapon bonus. 15% is huge. And then I have elevated. I would prefer to have competent, to have more damage when I pop a skill. When I pulse, I would have better damage. I think it's around 15 or 10%. And then for the mods, I have an extended mag with crit damage and rate of fire. The C79 scope, it's the smallest scope you can use that has crit damage and that would work with DeadEye. Stability is always nice to have, even when you're scoped in. You don't have really a need of stability, and the headshot damage, it's there. Yeah, you could have accuracy normally, which wouldn't help when you're scoped in. So you need to focus on crit damage, and 90% crit damage as a major attribute on your scope. It's the highest, I think. I've never seen a 20 or 21%, even if apparently they are existing. Then I have a load vent brake, again with crit damage, headshot damage, accuracy, increased red. It's, yeah. And then I have a small grip with, again, crit damage, optimal range to help me shoot again from further, and reload speed again, which is pretty good. And then I have the surplus SVD, 74.7k with accurate. Not really useful when you're scoped in. Prepared, again, that's the go-to talent with DeadEye and Deadly. Those two talents are mandatory. You always need to have those two talents on your weapons when you're using DeadEye, or even if you use another sniper build, those two will always work well with snipers. Then you have a magazine, an extended mag with magazine size, crit damage, rate of fire. Actually, the surplus SVD has already a pretty high rate of fire for a sniper, since it's a semi-auto. And if you increase the rate of fire, it becomes like a mini showstopper between your hands, which is, it's pretty effective. You have again a C79 scope with crit damage, optimal range, and headshot damage. Lone vent break with 90% crit damage, accuracy, headshot damage, and increased breath. And the small grip with critical hit damage, reload speed, and accuracy. So don't really look at the numbers because they always are random, and that's completely related to what is dropping. But focus more on what bonus you should have on your mods and stuff like that. These are really the bonuses you should focus on when you're building DeadEye. Then I will go to my skills. Using the tactical scanner. It has low crit chance, but since we're using DeadEye and it's 100% crit chance when you're scoped in, it's not relevant and you shouldn't focus on that. But you gain 20.50 percent crit damage, which is pretty good, pretty high. And then I'm using booster shot, which will increase my damage and damage resistance. I can always switch to overheal or no, overdose, but yeah, booster shot is always good if you are looking to build that DeadEye that can 1 or 2 shot. It's always a good thing. And then for the talents, I'm using critical save. When I'm in low health, I will gain damage resistance, adrenaline, all my medkits heal over time, and tactical advance. That's one of the talents you need to have. It's like mandatory, because when you're using DeadEye, you need to act like a real sniper, moving cover to cover, and that will help you to get 2% more weapon damage per meter you are covering for 5 seconds. It's enough time to get to the cover, aim and shoot, and benefit from the bonus you're gonna have from tactical advance, and it will raise your damage like insanely. And then I have evasive action to reduce the damage I'm gonna have while I'm doing the tactical advance. So those two work together because I have low health, really low stamina. So when I'm moving from cover to cover, I'm protected for 30% more. But while I'm protected, I'm getting more damage for my weapon. So those two need to be on your DeadEye. For the other two, you choose whatever you want, but those two, tactical advance and evasive action, those are mandatory. So that's pretty much it. Again, I'm gonna show you. I have really high number of firearms. The talents I'm using on my weapons don't need to stack into electronics and toughness. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna show you some clips, and I hope you like it. Again, this is a build where you can start from. You can always improve it or tweak it. You could use, for example, a nimble holster to get health while doing cover to cover, or you could have a recovered holster, which is pretty damn good too if you're using evasive action and tactical advance, because they all work together. You could use a relentless backpack with a pulse turret. There are many possibilities, but this is the base DeadEye Build. This is where you're gonna start with, and you're gonna improve it and tweak it, like Tenacious Mask. Um, but one thing, never use, for example, Savage Gloves. They don't work. They give you more crit chance, which is completely useless. But there you go. This is the base from the base that I built. It's up to you how you want to improve it. It's up to you to tweak it for PvP, for less stand, or whatever. But this is where you start with. And I will try to make other videos with, for example, the Relentless Backpack and the Pulse Turret. If you're soloing PvE content, it will give you health. There are many possibilities, and I will try to make a second video with some alternatives. But yeah, until next time, this is the DeadEye video I'm putting out. Again, if you like the video, hit like and subscribe. And again, no wait guys, this is just a game. Gear is random generated, so we all don't have the time to farm like for hours.